Please welcome from way down under, YouTube's hottest late night host, Lou! Late night with Lou!
Hello and welcome. Out of this world to have you with us, as always. Glad you've come back. Where we left off in the last episode was, of course, the question of angelic being. You can't really understand the angelic fall without understanding the angel, right? Now, we're going to leave off Holy Writ here. We're going to leave off Scripture, which, yes, I can quote and do all the time. For another authoritative text. This is, of course, not the 40 or 50 volume Catholic encyclopedia, but a pocket volume, so to speak, that you can keep on your, well, actually, why don't you keep it in the trash? Let me tell you what the Catholic encyclopedia has to say about the subject of angels. Purely spiritual or bodiless persons. Now that's from Matthew 22:30. Some of whom behold the face of God, and thus are in bliss. Yeah, I wonder who they would be. That again is from Matthew. These spiritual beings comprise the celestial court and are called angels, from the Greek word for messenger. Because, according to the Bible, they carry out missions at God's command. Yeah, according to the Bible. In order to complete these missions, they can at times assume bodily form. We can. According to the Bible, their missions are sometimes of great importance. For example, the announcement of Christ's coming and birth. Gabriel. Like us, the angels are the objects of God's grace and love. I'm sorry. I'm just not terribly fond of Gabriel. Just letting you know that, all right? Let's go back. Like us, the angels are the objects of God's grace and love. Really. Demonia, in Gloria, and I might have a quibble or two with that. But because unlike us, they are non-bodily creatures, their response to God's love did not require time and reflection to grow and mature. No, unlike you human beings, we know things automatically, good and evil, just like that. We don't have to experience them to know one from the other. We are superior. Where was I? As soon as they were created and received grace, they had the opportunity to respond to God's love and thus be welcomed into bliss. Tell me about it. While many did so, some did not. Hence, there is also a group of purely spiritual beings called fallen angels or demons. Dull cliches. Who, perhaps because of pride, did not return God's love. I'll be giving you the real story later. God did not destroy the fallen angels, but permits them to a limited scope of activity, because if he didn't, and this is straight from Catholic teaching as well, we could, and believe me, we would, destroy the physical universe and all of its inhabitants. A limited scope of activity. The condition of these two divisions of angels is permanent and fixed. No creature can turn away from the perfect good of the beatific vision once he has come to enjoy it, and no additional reflection could change the mind of a purely spiritual being who has turned away from God's love. You can say that again. Better to reign in hell. Thank you, Milton. He was a very great poet. Perhaps the most significant continuing activity of the good angels is to be the agents of God's particular providence for humankind. We'll talk more about that later, too. Thus, the Church teaches that every human being possesses a guardian angel. Yes, it certainly does. And you certainly do. Some of you have two. On the basis of reference to them in the Bible, angels are traditionally ranked in so-called celestial hierarchy of 9 orders. Seraphim, cherubim, thrones, dominions, virtues, powers, principalities, archangels, and angels. I'd like to point out here, as we're getting to know each other, that your precious Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael are mere archangels, whereas I am a seraph. So is Demonia. So is in Gloria. So are many of us here in the other place where angels exist. We'll talk more about the 9 choirs of angels another time. there's more to be said about Angelic being... Oh, I'm sorry. Demonia. All right, Demonia, what's up? Still resisting. Still resisting. But he's bitten on the investment idea. Not smitten with it, but he's bitten on it. Good. So he's considering. He's back to serious consideration. All right. Mulling it over. We've got to help him. Got to help our dear Rupert. He's 52 years old. He spent 30 years in Silicon Valley working his you-know-what off. Making billions. This yacht is pennies. Pennies to him. That conscience of his is really... We're up against it every time we come into every time we find ourselves fighting his conscience. Listen, we need to show him. We need to show him that the yacht is not just a place to park his money. It's a place to make money. Do you remember, again, in Gloria? Oh, she does such great work. Now, don't be jealous, darling. I love you both. As we demons love one another. In Gloria, had a client in Spain last summer. That Spanish footballer, soccer player, whatever, soccer star, whatever. You know, he's not a billionaire, but he's rich. And he bought a boat. He bought a boat because he's retired now and he wants to have an income. And he's renting the boat out. Do you remember the ad that Ingloria showed us last summer from Connoisseur? That boat of that Spanish soccer stars with 2 or 3 decks and, 6 cabins or something like that, anchored at Barcelona, being offered for $500,000 a week. A week. Listen, Demonia, I happen to know, because Ingloria told me, that the comestibles for a week on that boat, it's the full staff is there. You're paying for everything. It's full service. Everything is there. The food and the beverages, including the Dom Perignon, $30,000. And the staff salaries for a week, less than $25,000. In other words, barely $50,000 a week in expenses to rent the thing out for $500,000 a week. And don't kid yourself, yes, there are that many fools out there who don't know what to do with their money other than to blow $500,000 a week to rent a yacht from Barcelona. Well, this tub that Rupert's looking at is twice the size of the one the Spanish soccer star was renting, or is renting. Do the math. $1 million a week? Rupert could have the boat to himself for 12 weeks of cruising the Mediterranean or off the California coast or anywhere else he wants to go with it. 12 weeks he could keep it and rent it out at $1 million a week, and don't think there aren't fools out there who would pay it. For the other 40 weeks, do the math. This baby could be a money generator. $40 million a year. It's not just an investment. It's a profit-making venture. I can hear your smile. Of course. I'm happy to help, darling. You know that. Always. Yes, of course. Go to Rupert with the profit-making venture and see what happens. All right. All right. Splendid. Splendid, Demonia. Yes, I love you too. Smooches, darling. Well, Rupert's... He's a hard sell. He was brought up Catholic. It's that damn, pardon my Latin, Jesuit education of his. Those Jesuits. He grew up in Sacramento, went to Jesuit high school out there in Carmichael, and he learned about social justice. And he's never forgotten, the high school years are impressionable, aren't they? He's never forgotten what his Jesuit tormentors taught him. If we can get him to see it as an investment, not an investment, but a profit-making investment, where he can put more money in the bank and also give more money to dear Luz Evangelia, his... I don't know how to describe Luz Evangelia, his wife. Other than that, she's dangerous because she knows what money is for. Bad heavens, look at the time. I'm afraid I'm going to have to run. We're going to have to continue our discussion of the nature of angels and the influence that Luz has on her husband Rupert in another episode. I am due at Turtle Bay, that is to say, the United Nations. I'm meeting with some, how do I put it, highly savory characters, in my view, who want to talk about circumventing the UN's rules on torture. We'll see you next time. Don't forget, Uncle Lou wants you.